morning, everyone. This is Anae Augustini with CID Insurance Programs, and welcome to Grow Your Commercial Book Business with CID Insurance Services. I'm going to be your moderator today, and so I welcome you all for joining us. Some of you may not know much about this, so this would be an opportunity to learn about us. So let's talk about our objectives for this short period of time that we're going to be together. So we're going to talk about who we are, who's CID Insurance, how can we be of help to you, what is our product appetite, and then we're going to talk about, well, you shouldn't always just focus on new business growth because you really need to pay attention to how to retain your commercial renewals, right? And then I'm going to show you a few useful tools that we can be helping you with as well. So let's get started. Okay, so who's CID Insurance Services? And we are our corporate name is CID Insurance Program. So you may see that, and it's interchangeable. We have a DBA, CID Insurance Services. So what we do is we are a commercial wholesaler of commercial business. We have a limited amount of personal lines products, but we are not in the personal lines business. We do some dwellings, 1 through 4 units, and we do umbrellas for personal lines. So that you could look to us to be a market for those. But everything else that we do is commercial insurance products. And it's really designed for independents and captive insurance brokers, such as most of who we do business with. About 50-50 is independent and farmers agents. So we have a great following, and we appreciate all of our brokers. So what do we offer? So we're trying to find, we could do anything from preferred risk to manageable, hard to place. So, we're not really in the oil rig business. However, we can do a lot of hard to place, unusual types of risks. And if you are an independent where you don't have a lot of markets, we definitely have preferred markets as well. So we could do that happy mix for you, for where you need a market for those that don't fit your standard carriers that you're appointed with. Okay. Now we do business in 14 states, so you can see all of the states. You can see the blue on the map is where we do business. So we can accommodate you in multi-state. The majority of our business is written in California. However, we are expanding and growing in all of the other states as we go. So let's keep going. So why would you choose CID to do business with? And I'll tell you, we're a smaller wholesaler, but you'll find us very, very personable, knowledgeable, and we're right there delivering fast and easy quote options and competitive premiums because we know our carriers, and so all of our underwriters are knowledgeable. And they're able to do proper placement of risk, which really gets those competitive premiums going for you. All of our underwriters, and by the way, we now have we have new business underwriters, and then we have renewal underwriters. So you get a team that by department that will be working with you. So there's you'll be well taken care of by our underwriters. Majority of them have been with us, an average of 10 years. So they really know, they know their products. They're experienced underwriters, and they're responsive. They answer the phone, they answer their email, and they get back to you. So we also have marketing material that we've designed for you to put your agency information on, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. We've got lucrative commission structures, anywhere from 10 to 15% commission, depending on the carrier and the product. And then you guys we're here to educate. So webinars, you're on one today, but most of what we do is good. This one's an orientation of who we are and how we can help you. But a lot of ours are product-based, where you can learn about how to write different types of classes of business or coverages. And then we've got the educational videos, and we'll certainly do office training if we can be of help to you in that way. Important thing to do is we focus on renewal retention and new business production, and ideally PIF growth. That's policy in force growth. That is most important. Your policies in force needs to be growing year to year. So that's the total number of PIF that you have, and that is paying attention to that renewal and retention. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. So let's get into our products. Dan Mulligan has been with us, I think, 15 years, so he's really great. And we do professional liability really well. So if you need hand-holding on this, or you just need someone who can place your professional liability, then Dan, I call him Dan, is your man. He's really good. He knows his carriers really well, and he understands. He's underwritten a lot of types of risks, as you can see here. There's a nice balanced list of types of classes of business. In addition, you're going to see coverages beyond. So you've got your E&O, right? Then you've got some products that have an E&O and a GL combination. Like in the medical, you'll see that where the GL becomes an important factor in the social services as well. And you may have that with architects and engineers as well. So, and then you've got your coverages beyond E&O, such as the employment practices, your cyber liability, which has become, so those two have become your better offer. It's really important that you make that presentation. We'll talk a little bit more. And then corporate D&O is becoming more of a concern to make sure that it's being offered as well. Okay. Then we have Teresa. Teresa has been with us probably 10 years, and she is one of our top-notch underwriters. You'll love working with her as well as all of our underwriters, but Teresa does a great job. She handles all of our garage products, and so we can do anything from preferred to hard-to-place garage. You can see there's a variety on there, and it goes the full spectrum. And so there's probably very little that she can't handle. She's got a lot of markets for that. So we can, and by the way, anything that we do, new ventures are always, that's an acceptable risk for all of our classes of business and our coverages. Manufacturers, contractors, we do everything from GCs, your general contractors, to your artisan contractors, and then so you could see the wide variety there. Builds risk of vacant buildings, we write a lot of that, so we can make that really easy for you. And we've got cannabis, you can see there what's available, and we do a great job with retail merchants, some that your preferred markets don't do a great job with, which really is your convenience stores. We've got very competitive premiums on that, but standard carriers don't really want to play with that. But we've got an admitted product for convenience stores, and then your gas stations, liquor stores, and tobacco stores we do a great job with as well. Restaurants is another. So Teresa, you'll be able to, I'll show you where to get your applications on the website so that you can start submitting as soon as you're ready. And then Michelle does a great job. She handles a lot of our HAB and nonprofits. So if you want to lump that together a little bit, she apartments, LROs, your commercial buildings, and then community associations we write as well. And then hotel motel. That's sort of a hotel motel. We've got a lot of markets for it, but not, some of you recognize that farmers got out of the business, and so we've been writing a lot of hotel motel because they're getting off of it. They're actually non-renewing their book, and so if you find yourself in that situation, please submit it to Michelle, and she'll be able to get you some quotes. Nonprofit is another big area that we focus on. Churches being one of the big houses of worship, being one of the biggest areas that is smart to go after. But then again, you've got trade associations and Chamber of Commerce and all types of nonprofits, charitable, that we are really an expert, and especially if you're not really well versed in it, we can help you and point you towards the applications to get filled out to get a quote. And then you'll see special events and surety and fidelity. We can help you in that area. And then you can see that there's training schools, fitnesses. So she's got a sort of a mishmash going there, and she does a great job. She's very responsive, so she'll be there to help you. And then last but not least, we have Cesar Serrano, and he handles all of our new business work comp. And there's very little that he can't write. He's been with us on average about 10 years, and he knows his markets. He knows his where to place properly, and then how to help you with class codes when you're trying to determine the right submission to get a competitive quote. So he does a great job. We do a lot of business in workers' comp, so that would be a good one to be submitting on. So let's talk a little bit more about coverages that your clients need. And this is where you as insurance brokers can really have an E&O exposure, is because everyone's asleep as to you may write one coverage for them, two coverages, but you may be missing all the other coverages, and they have a loss in that area, and so you end up and not everything can be written on a BOP. The BOP was the cure for trying to ensure that you had all the coverages, or a lot of the coverages that you needed, and that just a BOP, not everything again can be written on a BOP. So you really have to you have to look at all of these coverages separately and ensure make sure that you are looking at the needs of your client, to be sure that you've proposed that coverage so that they don't come back against you later saying, you never offered me this. I thought I was covered for everything, right? We all know that one. So property, general liability, a lot of times that's a standard package, but not, depending on the class of business. It can be tricky to write them combined. And then fidelity. If they're dealing with money or a client's money, you've got to make sure that they have a adequate limit of fidelity. And then now everyone's doing online banking, and so you've got exposures with hackers, getting the password and sign on and getting in and transferring funds out, and that's happening all over. That's just pretty standard these days. So you have to be super careful. But you do need computer fraud and funds transfer coverage in order to cover that kind of loss. And so and usually that combo of fidelity and computer fraud, that should be you buy that on a standard standalone fidelity policy, which we can help you with that. So cyber liability is another one. That's a moving target. All of the types of losses, it's not even about, well, it is, but private information, breach of private information of a third party, that's where it started. But now one of the biggest issues is cyber extortion and ransomware, and the demands. They're getting super creative about how they break into your servers, and then they shut down your system, and then they demand. And the demands used to be petty, and now the demands are huge. They're starting anywhere from $50,000 to maybe $1 million, depending on the size of the company. And it is a serious problem. And the carriers are paying these claims. So I definitely want to make sure that you're offering that. That Dan's really good with that coverage. Again, professional liability. If they have it's an economic type loss, and if they are rendering professional services for a fee, you've got a professional exposure that really needs to be recommended as well. And then garage is a standalone. I mean, garage is in a world by itself, so it has generally its own form and own coverages. And I think we've got a garage webinar coming up soon, so that would be a good one to attend if you are interested in learning more about garage. Again, I mentioned directors and officers liability, employment practices, and then obviously if they have employees, workers' comp, hired and non-owned auto, and inland marine. If you've got a contractor or anyone who's got equipment that's moving, on the move, goes more than 100 feet away from their location, you're going to need an inland marine to schedule everything on. And then don't forget umbrellas. They're not that expensive, and because $1 million is not enough general liability anymore. So I really welcome you. And 5 years ago, I didn't say that. I say that now because of the liability lawsuits that I've seen, where that you could buy as much a general liability coverage as you can afford. And so offering an umbrella is an important factor, because you wouldn't want to be the one who's where there's a lawsuit and it exceeds the coverage that they have in place, right? You're going to get sued if that happens. Let's keep going. Okay, so we've been talking about new business, and always, where to, bringing your new business to us. We would like you to bring your renewals to us as well, because we may be able to help you maintain your renewals by submitting them to us to see if we can offer better quotes for you. But let's talk about your renewal process. There needs to be a renewal process in place. And some of you independents are big enough and you have a sophisticated agency management system. So you can manage everything out of there when you do, but not all of you do. Farmers agents don't. They're independent. Their outside book is not in farmers, computers. And so you've got to figure out a system for yourself. And then smaller independents, sometimes they're confronted by that same thing. So even if you use an Excel spreadsheet, you've got to manage your renewals by an expiration report. And usually our office does it monthly, and it's just a constant tracking, and so that would be one way. But you've got to pay attention to that. If you don't have that in place, that is a key to retention, because you go out there and get new business, you better retain. You want a retention, and I'm going to drop to bullet number 3, because you want that retention to be. You want to keep that lapse ratio. I mean, in my opinion, it should be. You want it to be only 90. You want it to keep 90% of your renewals. So you don't want to lose more than 10%, and that certainly means you've got to be gaining, a lot more new business, right? You got to offset that. And you also want to monitor between retention and lapse, because lapse is so retention. Well, lapse is when you're within the first year. So if you don't even make it through the first 12 months with new business, that's the worst situation. So you'd really want to be looking at that and examining to see what's going wrong. Why am I writing business and it's going out the door? Because renewals become your bread and butter. So it's important things to look at. Also, when you're working your renewals, you want to cross-sell those other insurance coverages that we talked about. You want to at least know who they're working, who is the other broker, right? Ask for referrals while you're working. We get a lot of referrals from brokers that are satisfied with how we take care of them. And then last but not least, there should be a 50-50 equal focus on new business production and renewal retention. And that's how you get profitable, and that's how you grow that PIF, policy in force count. Okay, let's keep going. So how do we retain the commercial renewals? So, I mentioned earlier, it really depends on the PIF count. It has to be growing, and so you lose too much out the back door, is what I call it, your renewals. Then you're on this vicious cycle of, well, you're losing it out the back. You ride it, and then you lose it out the back door. You ride it, and then you lose it out the back door. You have to really examine and make sure that you have systems in place. And it's really systems that make this all work. And so if you're not good at it, find someone who is and put them in charge of it, right? Even if you're a one-man show, it's like if you've got a spouse or someone who's really good at it, have them structure it, and then everybody follows the system. Do you have more than one policy with each of your insureds? If you have, you should. If you have less than two, your renewal retention could be in trouble. And that's sort of what I was talking about, because the more policies you have per insured, the easier it is to retain the business. And that is just, there's statistics on that. That is just a fact. And so that's why it's really important to cross-sell. And then it's really important to know the coverages that your clients need. We talked about that. You must walk through the gamut of all the coverages. And, another thing it would be to create a little cheat sheet, where you're putting all those coverages right in front of them. So if you need any help with that, reach out to me, because that's a great tool. I think we might have something like that already around. So, but that was something we could help you with, put together a template if you needed it. And then again, I mentioned, know who has the other insurance, because guess what? They're trying to get what you have. So it's competitive out there. And so you don't want to be surprised when someone else grabs your business, and the insured says, oh, I've gone with the other broker. I'm moving this, so that you want to know where that other insurance is, who's the broker, and when does it expire? Can I give you a proposal? So cross-selling is really important. Now, last thing I want to say is you need to start your renewals early. And if information is required, we're always going to be reaching out to you at least 60 days prior with any information that we're going to need. But you need to have your own tickler system where you're reaching out to your insured at 60 days to check to see whether there are any changes in exposure or coverage that they need, and then so that you can provide those informal insurance proposals at about 30 days, giving them enough time to make a decision. And of course, you touch renewals once a year in commercial. It's so much easier than personal lines, but you better touch it well once a year and make sure that you spend time with them. It's better to go into their office. And so once they feel taken care of, most of them will that you'll maintain those commercial clients. But it does take that care and time. Okay. So what about tools for our website? I think providing you guys, that's our sort of what we want to do, is help you do a better job. And so one of the things you see right on the screen is that we have insurance proposal templates. And if you don't see what you need, definitely you can reach out to me, and I will I'll make one for you, no problem, because we've got lots of them. They're just not all on the website. And this is a workers' comp one that makes it really easy. And so you see the red areas are where it just becomes a template that you just fill in, right? And you save the template and keep reusing the template. And then you can actually save the proposal that you create and use it again next year. So it's a really cool way. And then again, you can see that it asks for a bind request, that you have a signature, and there's no question whether they're choosing to bind the coverage or not. So here's what on our website. You'll see the applications, recorded webinars. And we've got a wide variety. So we've got a lot of templates. You can see notice templates, risk profile templates. You might want to look at those. Those are great for, I think we have them for apartments and lesser's risk, for gathering information. And I can make more of those if you need. So I was going to do quickly, I was just going to take you to our website. I think that should work. Oh, why is that not working? Oh, there it goes. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see the website. So I was just going to quickly show you. Here's our applications. And I'm going to move my bar over here so I can get down there and show you. See you have all our applications, and sometimes our underwriters say, hey, reach out to them so that they can, because we want to make sure we don't want to mess around. We want, when you submit an application for a quote, that we can hit the bullseye and give you a great quote in a very a very short period of time. We want to turn it around fast for you. And so reaching out to your underwriters is another good way. Apps are here, but sometimes they'll recommend a different app based on the circumstances of the risk that you're bringing to us. And I'm going to pull this back one more time. So if you want to reach out, you could see here the underwriting team is where you would want to go, and then find your one of the underwriter that is appropriate. And again, I mentioned we've got a renewal team and we got a new business team. So, but they're all listed there. I can show you just quickly. Okay, there's Dan at the top. Okay, and then oops, darn it, I clicked out of there. Uh-oh, let me go back to here. Oh, I thought I had it, guys. All right. And then I think you saw the tabs there. They're under resources is where you'll find all the templates and the proposal templates are there, and broker of record, broker record BLRs, and then broker fee agreements are in there as well if you're in a state that you can charge a fee. So that is going to be a really great resource for you. And reach out and let us know if you don't see what you need. Let me know, and we'll make sure that we get that to you. So thank you for joining us today. I want to, thank you for tools. And I never suggested that anybody could chat in and ask any questions. But if you have any questions, you could chat them in now. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have. But our website is going to be a great source, or just contact your underwriters directly, because they want to hear from you. So that's the good news, and it's probably a lot of brokers tell us that's the most refreshing thing about doing business with us, is that we're very responsive. Your submission doesn't end up in a pile where we're not even aware that you've submitted. So and so we look forward to doing business with you. And please let us know if you have any questions. I think we have I think we might have a survey at the end of this, and we'll be sending some marketing material out to you after the webinar. Thank you for joining us.